Welcome back, fam, to Brother Wolf, Sister Moon Divination. I hope you're all doing well. Spirit has called me to provide a message. And today I'm guided, to talk about talismans and amulets, lucky charms, if you will. And I know that our viewers are advanced, intermediate, and beginners, and also people coming from different traditions, different cultures. It's so important that we share each other's information, our cultural ideas. And I know growing up as a kid, I grew up in Miami, Florida, and in my neighborhood as a kid, there were literally people from all over the world, from the Middle East, from Africa, from other parts of the United States, from the Caribbean, from South America. And wow, how lucky to have been exposed to so much different culture and ideas. I grew up in a neighborhood that had a large Jewish population. We also, growing up as kids, we had, literally people from all over the world, and Israeli, Haitian, Cuban, Venezuelan, Colombian, Nigerian, Lebanese, Saudi Arabian, Iranian, everybody from everywhere, and literally people from all over the US. And so growing up as a kid, that really provided me with such wonderful insights and access to so many different cultures and languages and foods. And of course, all the different cultures have their own bit of magic, if you will. And sometimes this comes out of necessity. We've all been in situations. We were in a difficult situation. We might not have had a lot of control over the situation. And this is where talismans and amulets can come in so handy and provide us with some solace. And from a metaphysical and of course spiritual sense, which I'm an avid believer and adherent, that I have a proof of this. I mean, I've been there in the trenches. I've been there in those foxholes with nothing but a little hope to get you through. So hopefully this message is for you, a message of hope, and how our talismans can really help us focus our energy and ask our spirit guides for help. I always like to approach everything with science, and there's a lot of research in psychoneuroimmunology and psychodynamic psychology, that there is, our mind is very powerful and can influence many things in our body and also in our surroundings and our interactions with others. So I think the goal for most necromancers, magic practitioners, spiritual people, is to refine those energies for good. I mean, that's my take on it. I think that we can improve situations for the better and provide hope when there is no hope. I know that's my mission. I've been in a lot of times very difficult situations, and all I had was my faith to get me through, and maybe a lucky charm. And from a psychological standpoint, maybe that's just giving us a distraction, a nice focused mindfulness, if nothing else. Having said that, of course, I do, from experience, know that it's so much more than that. And if you're drawn to this reading, it's meant for you. And I believe you identify with this and might have been in those situations. So I know I like to pass it on and provide hope for people who are in a place like that or a situation like that, and help them come through. And I hope that, one passes it on. I know I try to. And so, talismans. So, very interesting story. This is one of my favorites. Now, this is out of commission right now because it served me for a long time. So let me see if I can focus in on this a little. Notice the detail in this. Now, these were like a dime a dozen, and now good luck finding them, first of all. And I think the original, this is not the original, but this is a pretty old one. And one day I got it at a dollar store. And you could find them in that time, going back many years now. I believe they're originally from Turkey. Brass. Lots of character. Okay. It has many names, but in a way it's like a symbol of the hand of God, or also the hand of Hamza, or Fatima's hand. I mean, there's so many different attributes because the hand is the recognizable human quality. Hands. Like, we immediately think of people and a person. So I wore this on my keychain for the longest time. Look how exquisite. The scroll work, the patina. Well, and then one day it went missing. And I was distraught. But the message here is eventually it came back. So what do we discern from that? Well, in the world of talismans and stones and amulets, that's the job. It's meant to absorb messed up energies, or someone threw something, or there was a bad energy, and it did its job. So don't, of course, if you're like me, of course, and you're into the spirit realm, the left-hand path, if you will, you know that means something. Sometimes you're clumsy with your jewelry and it breaks, but you know the difference, you feel it. And so, interesting, time had passed, many moon cycles had passed, and one day, glinting in my front yard, was this thing, my hand talisman, my amulet. Isn't that something? So, for now, I have it charging on my altar ever since. It served its purpose, and it will still give energy, and maybe one day, if it calls me to do so, I will bring it back. And so I found a replacement for a lot more money, but you don't have to spend a lot of money to turn anything into a talisman. If it gives you hope, a lucky penny would work. Okay? Give hope and energy and ask for protection in that as you're doing it. And of course, you could always, when you're activating I know my advanced and intermediate know all this stuff already, but just we always have new people coming in, and we have to share the information. So waft it with some incense, little things like that. I'm also a big advocate for stones, right? Let me share with you some other talismans that I use. So here's another one. This is a beautiful piece of lapis lazuli. And, you could always buy yourself a stone, but it's always special if you get someone buys it for you or gifts it to you. That makes it even more special. Again, we waft it under the incense, soak it in some salt water from your kitchen, a little water and a table salt. Or if you're lucky to live near the ocean, get some, ask permission, get some water from the sea goddess, the mother sea, take a little home with you. If you do that, by the way, and they go back to the traditions of my godmother, when you take water from the ocean, never stick like a bottle or, like a plastic bottle and then submerge it under the surface and let the water plumb. That's disrespectful. So what you will do is you'll take a cup, you could goop it out, but that gesture of sucking the vacuum that creates is considered disrespectful. And so instead you ask permission, you cleanse yourself with the seawater, and then you take some of that water, and then once you take it out, however you do, with a cup or your hand, you can then pour it into a little bottle that some container of some kind, and then take it home with you. You could splash it on your talismans, let it soak in your, there's many options. Also, ideally, if you follow the cycle of the moon, as the moon is waxing, it depends what you're doing. If you're charging it for the first time, you're going to want a waxing moon, new moon or beyond, until the full moon. And then you can keep it all during that cycle and make it very powerful. Or let's say you've already anointed it and charged it and focused it for you to protect you and with its other intentions, whatever you want to give it. Then, and let's say you wear it and you have it around, you feel you've picked something up, right? Well, another moon magic you can do is as the moon is waning, then you want to put it in the same, you could put it outside in a cup of water or salt water, table salt, doesn't have to be seawater. And then as the moon is waning, pull away any negative energy that this absorbed, clean it out, and give it the power to recharge and cleanse itself. And you don't have to do that for the entire cycle, like a couple of days as it's waning, then it pulls that out. That's one option to clean your stone. You could always just put it back in salt water, re-waft it under an incense. Also, any stone, as long as you can make it a pendulum, can become a diviner, a scrying tool where you're, okay, and so if it's going clockwise, spirit's in agreement. And if it's going counterclockwise, spirit is not in agreement, or the answer is no. And this is another form of meditation. And it also can double as a lovely talisman. You keep that in your pocket, your purse, maybe put in a little tissue paper or napkin or handkerchief, folded nicely, maybe with a little spritz of rose water on it. Here's another one. This is another gift that I received. And one of my favorite stones, as you can see, is lapis lazuli. Love it. Elegance defined. Okay, so that's one of the big messages for you today, is that Spirit wanted me to come to you. Now, you could also turn any pendant necklace into, let me bring this up so you can see what I'm doing. So we both can see what I'm doing. All right. This is hemp twine. Try to find a natural type of string, that'd be good, or metal. Okay, so I've just made a simple pendulum scrying tool. Okay, so think creatively. You can really start your practice with very little, even if your spiritual space is nothing more than a shoebox, or a little pencil case. Start somewhere, and that's your little space. That's your little magic world. This, for example, okay, this was originally it still is, a box of incense. Cone incense. And I just love the graphic. Isn't it pretty? Anyway, I turned this into my little spiritual box. So you can have something as small as this, a little charm, a little seashell, maybe some incense, some flower petals, and that's your own little protection, your own little world. And so if you live in a small place or a shared space, you can create these little nooks. And this could be like a focal point of your energies, your protections, your prayers. And as you know, I like Chinese food, as you can see. These little fortune cookies, and I kept the little fortune. So this is over the different Chinese food, they come with little fortune cookies, which is so cute. And I know it's gimmicky, but a lot of these messages are inspired by Taoism, very, very interesting and always insightful. That's why I use them. So you could turn anything into something magical, and a little special sacred space for protection, for solace. And, that's so important. And especially if we're going through a difficult time, don't despair. You have your spirit guides, your angel guides around you. Just call them in to help you change the energy. This ties into Feng Shui. As you can see, I guess based on my growing up in Miami, I have this eclectic kind of thing going on. I think a lot of you do. But a lot of this is inspired by my growing up in that kind of environment with all kinds of different cultures and ideas. So the I Ching, I also love Feng Shui and Taoism and all these Eastern philosophies. Sometimes changing the energy in your living space can be as simple as sweeping and mopping, even with just plain old water. You'd be surprised what an energy change that can be and bring in good energy. So declutter, dust, cleanse, and it sounds silly, but even doing dusting and the routine of cleaning or laundry can be a meditative process because it is very focused and you're mindful of what you're doing, and it's a benefit because you're doing something productive. But don't underestimate how important decluttering, regularly cleaning your house, that all ties into Feng Shui and many of the Afro-Caribbean traditions. Floor washes are so important. But hey, if you got nothing else, water. Okay. Second nice thing to add, a little ammonia diluted with the water. Some cleaners already have ammonia in them, like Windex or window cleaner. That's another powerful tool, ammonia, to really break out the funk, get that funk out, change the energy. I also when I'll do one of those, the need comes and I have to do one of those cleanings. I feel something was dropped at my doorstep or some negative energy came through. You feel it. My intuitive fam here knows all about that. My people, you know what I'm talking about. So have these little strategies, these little home strategies to enrich your life and to protect you, and carve out a private, safe space for yourself, even if it's as small as a box. And then you can expand. But, consider employing some sort of talisman or amulet and charge it with the energies of protection, whatever you need, even drawing in, let's say you want to land a job or you want to meet new people. There's other ways you can do that. There's so many. And through our series together, I hope to share some more of these tips and tricks from Aunt Clara's broom closet. So anyways, I wanted to just share that with you, and as always, blessings, be well, and God is love.